A new complication of the measles virus has been hitting the news waves in the last week or two because they're trying to scare you. They're trying to tell you that measles is up, which means we have an increased risk of complications. They realized that having 3 deaths last year was not as scary as it sounded, so now they have to start scaring you with other complications of measles. And that would be SSPE. That's subacute sclerosing panencephalitis, SSPE. And it is very rare. It is a complication of measles mainly in infants, so under 1 year old, which is interesting because we don't vaccinate until 12 months old, meaning that our most vulnerable aren't even vaccinated. The risk of SSPE in an infant is 1 in 600 measles cases. That's a lot. So I understand the fear of having an infant under 12 months old who isn't vaccinated with the measles vaccine, because people are telling you that your child, if they get measles, are probably going to die from this horrible disease. After 12 months old, the risk is about 1 in 10,000 to 1 in 100,000 if you get measles. Remember, measles is still very rare, okay? So SSPE is still even more rare. So don't let people scare you with this one crazy, extremely rare disease. What is it? Well, it's a neurodegenerative disease, meaning after about 3 to up to, 16 years after a measles infection, they can start having dementia and seizures and jerking, and it is progressively bad until the person dies. It's awful. There's no treatment for SSPE. Now, like I said, the risk of SSPE is extremely low, even if you have wild type measles. But I looked into, is there a risk of SSPE with a vaccine? And in fact, about 15 to 20% of SSPE cases are in vaccinated individuals. Now, some of those individuals had measles and then got the vaccine, but about 15% of them never had measles. They only had the vaccine, which means there is still a risk of SSPE from the live measles vaccine. Granted, it's much lower risk to get SSPE if you're vaccinated than unvaccinated, but it's still a risk. And one thing that I often think about is that child may have never gotten measles, which means they would never have even been at risk for SSPE. But when we vaccinate a kid, now we give them a risk that they may have never had. So it's taking chances on both sides. So don't let the media scare you. SSPE is very rare, and there is risk on both sides.